All right, we are ready to go. Dante Moore said he's studying Fernando Mendoza tape, saying he's someone I admire. Brandon Finney told Justin Hopkins of Scoop Duck, it's hard to worry about the national championship when I have to focus on Wednesday's practice. Finney, Coy Parrish, and Amari Washington have all landed on the Bronco Nagurski watch list. And Duck football is just how many days away, Lisa?
32 as of today.
32. You posted it today on your Twitter. You've done a great countdown with great Ducks of the past. Welcome to Fansided Oregon Football, the podcast where we focus on Duck fans, Duck football, and the Autzen experience, everything that makes us want to shout. We're part of the Voice of College Football Network, but on this show, it's your voice that we really want to hear. I'm Dale Bliss, a contributing writer for Autzen Zoo, and our guest today is the Queen of the Mischief makers, that lawyer Lisa, a valuable member of the Oregon fan community and Twitter family. Now, Lisa, you've got a special look today. I know that your game day looks are something you put a lot of thought into. Would you mind standing up and just modeling it for our studio audience?
So this is my new custom. My new custom t-shirt for the first game. It's a helmet, rhinestone, and then I've got my rhinestone football earrings, which I wear to absolutely every game.
Very nice. Very nice. I love the energy you put into that. And you have a group of wonderful friends that you sit with at games and I think even attend some away games with. Is that right?
Yep, the bad bitch crew, we call ourselves. And Raleigh. We can't forget about Raleigh.
Okay, now who's Raleigh?
Raleigh is one of the girls' husbands. And so he traveled with us to Penn State when we all went to Penn State. And we had t-shirts made that said the bad bitch crew. And then up at the top was a little thing that pointed like a little ad and it said, and Raleigh.
I like it.
So,
I like it. It
yeah.
takes a special kind of guy to hang out with a group of women. I hang out with some of my wife's friends once in a while, but it takes a special kind of guy to hang out with a group of women and not try to change the energy. Just go with it. Just accept your role and realize that no matter what you do, you're never going to be one of the bad bitches.
Raleigh is actually a great guy. At one point during that, I'm an introvert, despite what it might look like on social media. And a lot of those women, I think all the women actually, including my daughter, are extroverts. So at one point, Raleigh and I were in the corner just sipping some whiskey. The shenanigans of the others was fun to watch. I'll just put it that way. So, but
Eh,
Raleigh's great. Christine is blessed to have him as a husband.
That's outstanding. How many away games do you go to a year?
I try to go to one a year at least. This year might be two. It depends on if I can swing Ohio State or not. This year we're doing USC. Two definitely if Washington is if that's an away. I usually try to go to Washington and then somewhere else. So yeah, it just all depends. Last year, I think it ended up being three because we did the Orange Bowl. So a few of us did the Orange Bowl, I should say. And so, yeah, I'm at that point in life where I don't have any kids at home and it's about making me happy. And so I've gone to a couple of games by myself. Sometimes I've gone with groups, I've gone with family. I just go to just see what other uh, stadium experiences are like, and I've had a blast.
That's outstanding. And one of the things I love about you agreeing to come on the show is one of the major tenets of this program. And the reason we started it was there's more than one way to fan. And there are guys who dive into the X's and O's and can explain the intricacies of the cover zero defense. And there are people who just go to be a part of it, to sing, to have joy, to revel in the wins and losses, to get to know the players a little bit and have and enjoy watching them grow and achieve things and realize their dreams. There's just a whole lot of different ways to fan, and they're equally valid. And I want to hear and celebrate all of those stories. So it's great to have you on.
It's good to be here, and I think that's great about your podcast you're doing, because there is a large range, right? There's some of us that are in the middle, that we like the fan experience and we can talk some X's and O's, right? And then there's everything on the other side of that. KB was with you earlier today, and that guy should have a job on ESPN. I will say
Yeah,
that.
yes. Yeah. He could go on game day and sit on the panel tomorrow. He was just so
Absolutely.
well spoken, so prepared, so dialed in, that made so many good points. I was blown away. I just tried to stay out of his way and keep him flowing. That was terrific. And tomorrow we're going to have Big Dave Uyunglele on the program. Sorry. Um, I'm excited about that. And you and he sat behind each other at the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, so there were four of us from our crew that went to the Orange Bowl, and Big Dave was right behind us. And part of the fun of watching that game was when Mateo did something fantastic, or when Dad thought Mateo should do a little bit more. He was absolutely letting the field know, despite the fact I'm pretty sure that Mateo couldn't hear him. He was definitely letting him know what he thought. And at one point, I think Mateo sacked somebody. And man, I would be surprised if the kid didn't hear his dad, because he blew my eardrum out at one point. But he was fun to watch during that game for sure.
That had to be. He's a very proud and passionate papa. It's fun to see his interactions with the duck community, and he's become sort of like an honorary father to us all.
Yeah, he has definitely been a great addition. I've seen him around Autzen Stadium. Seen him in passing, seen the family when they stop by, as they're walking through the stadium. And it's good to see. Mateo's got a big family, lots that come and see him. And I think that's exciting.
Great support system.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's blessed.
It's really amazing. I can't imagine what it would be like to be a father. I am a father, but I can't imagine what it would be like to have two sons, one in the NFL and one headed for the NFL. I mean, you just have to be just bursting with pride about all they've accomplished.
I would imagine so, and even more impressive, one on each side of the ball, right? Like the man has to know every part of the game to be able to kind of dad coach from the sidelines, right? So,
Uh,
and then just the experience of DJ having gone to a couple of different schools and traveled around. I imagine that was something for Dave.
that particularly because there's that old saying, quarterbacks get way too much credit when you win and way too much blame when you lose. And DJ played in a couple of spots where really didn't have the greatest supporting cast, and the team fell way short of expectations. And being the quarterback, all that falls on him. And social media, everybody's got an opinion and everybody's got a platform now. And that had to be hard to deal with as a father.
I would imagine it would be. I mean, you look at, did he have a supporting cast members to catch his ball? Did he have an O-line? I think one year I watched him, the O-line was not impressive, right? I watched that kid scramble for his life. So the strength and the pride in which he carries himself about his kids and how protective he is about them, even though they are young adults, is pretty impressive.
And very authentic. That's what I love about it. And now, to make the story even more full circle, DJ is the backup to Justin Herbert in San Diego.
That's right. He is
I,
there.
I'm dating myself. They're not in San Diego anymore. They're in Los Angeles.
They
He's a backup for Justin Herbert with the Chargers.
Yep, they are in Inglewood, I think specifically. I've actually been to SoFi Stadium, the only NFL stadium I've been to. And so, yeah, that's where they are.
Lisa, the Penn State game had to be an incredible experience. 106,000 fans, and you guys, it's very clear who you are and who you're rooting for. That had to be different.
It was different, but I will tell you something that surprised me both at Michigan and Penn State. Their fans were welcoming. They were very impressed that there was a group of people from Oregon that made the trip out, particularly to call to why can't I think of the name of the town? Anyway, to Penn State because it's in the middle of nowhere. I absolutely in the middle of nowhere. And the stadium itself, it's kind of on the very edge of this small college town, right? Where it's just cow pastures. We parked in a pasture. That's where we tailgated was a pasture. And so they were very, when we pulled up in our tailgate area, we had two cars. We pull up, we park next to each other, and we get out of our car, and immediately we are greeted by some Penn State fans that were like, "Did you fly here from Oregon?" We said, "Yes, we all flew here from Oregon. What can we do?" And we were looking for game day. We were going to game day, and the guy and his wife walked us all the way to the game day set and then said, "Hey, we're serving food afterwards if you want to come back." And so we did, and we tailgated with this great group of people that were just amazing. Spent a couple hours with them, and then went back into the game or when the game started. And I don't think minus a couple of small, strange interactions, which generally were from students, which you kind of expect. Um, the yelling or swearing, and my response is always say, "Thank you, I love you too," and then they don't know what to do with you at that
They
point,
don't know how to
right?
handle that. Where do you go with that?
Yeah, and then I'll say, "Hey, good luck," and they're like, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, you good luck with you too." So it was just a fabulous uh experience from start to finish. I don't have a negative thing to say about the people that were at Penn State. The only thing I will say is they stuck us so far up in the nosebleeds at a weird corner angle that the final play, I didn't even know Thieneman had intercepted it because we couldn't see it from our corner. And
Oh
then all of a
man,
sudden the Ducks rushed the field, and I'm like, "What happened?" And somebody goes, "Oh, he intercepted it." And part of Thieneman's family was like right in front of us, and they're going crazy, but we couldn't see. And so it took us a second to kind of catch up to what actually had happened.
did you get a jumbotron view of it or anything?
We did for a split second, and then somebody else had their phone, and so then we were looking at the replay of it at that point, because a lot of the fans, we just hung out there, just kind of standing there, just excited that we survived the whiteout, right, and the overtime and all of that, and nobody really wanted to leave our really high corner that we felt we were going to like fall off the side of the stadium from. So but yeah, it was pretty incredible. I think maybe because where we were seated, it is definitely not the loudest game I've ever been to. Um,
Really?
it- yeah, no.
106,000 fans and it wasn't that loud.
Well, we were clear up at the top. I bet if you were down at the bowl, it might have
Okay.
been different, right? But we were at the top, and so I could still talk to the people next to me and not have to scream, which you can't do that in Autzen. So
No.
yeah.
One of the things you talked about missing that last play, one of the things that I really enjoy that the Ducks do now is the Ducks versus them series. That inside look at what the team is doing and how they prepare. Yeah, I think it's amazing.
It is. I look forward to that. Every season, I look forward to after the game, the reward of seeing Ducks versus them for a couple of different reasons. Um, I made a comment on, I call it Twitter. I know it's X, but I'm just old school and old.
I
So
do
here we
too.
are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made a comment, I think yesterday or the day before, that I think Dan Lanning would have made an excellent trial attorney. And part of the reason is when you do criminal defense or you do a lot of trials, the preparation that goes into that is intense. And a lot of times when I look at Ducks versus them, it's kind of a parallel of what I do in life going to a trial, right? You're leading up, you're prepping your team, you're prepping your client, you're getting ready really to win, and losing isn't an option. And I feel like that's the same kind of thing, even motivating, you know, building a narrative or a story for his team to buy into each week is something that I think of all the time when I'm prepping. I told my daughter a couple years ago, she got me a signed Mariota um, picture that I have at home. And she said, I don't know how I'm going to top this. Well, then Lanning started doing those cameos, right? And so I said to her, hey, get me a motivational something from Lanning for my birthday. And so one morning, a couple days after my birthday, she goes, hey mom, check your text messages. And here is a motivational speech from Lanning. Um, and I thought to myself, I wonder if these kids realize week to week to week and season to season, because he has a different theme each season, how special that is. Um, you know, I hope they're treasuring this part of their lives, because he really seems to be not only a coach, but kind of a dad to them, where it's about the game, but it's also about becoming a man, and growing as a good human. And he's teaching these valuable life lessons by breaking them down week by week by week. And it's pretty incredible, just absolutely incredible.
Those are some really good points. And he said many times that, I'm not just concerned about them being better football players. I want them to be better husbands, better fathers, better men. And that really comes through. In his work, he has a strategy, a game plan, and a message every week. And it's so cohesive. And it's just so fun that we get to absorb it along with the team through Ducks versus them. It's got to be especially satisfying for you being having to be in the same way, sort of meticulously focused on how you approach a problem.
It is. It's satisfying to watch in the sense that it makes me feel like, one, when you watch through the seasons, sometimes I always say the being a lawyer is about the practice of law. You're never going to get it 100% right, right? You're going to mess up because we're human and that's what happens. And so, you know, his particular thing that he said since year one, this growth mindset, it's the same thing in careers like being a lawyer, right? Each time I do something, each time I make a mistake, I look at it, I go to the doctor, as he says, and I tear it apart and I become better, as I look at how can I grow from that adversity. So the lessons he's teaching aren't just to them. I would say they're lessons to each of us who are watching Ducks versus them,
I,
if we're
I,
taking it.
yeah, forgive me. I totally agree, and I hope he coaches here 25 years, and it will be really fun to see as the years go by, and as his players move on to careers. Some of them in football, some of them not. To see where they go and what they accomplish, and how he's impacted all those lives.
I agree. I hope we have him forever. Basically, I think he's a guy who is never going to be satisfied with okay. You know, one ring isn't going to satisfy him. Two isn't going to satisfy him, right? For him, it's always going to be something more, and he'll adjust his goals every time, and he'll stay hungry. And he's 40, he's young. Um, so
For,
we're at the beginning of this. If we can keep him, right? If the NFL doesn't come knocking, or something.
I would be very surprised if he left for an NFL job. He's repeated over and over, and just this week, he repeated again that it used to be a goal of his, but it's not anymore. He's at a different place in his life. He's got 3 young boys. He's very happy in Eugene. He has everything he needs to succeed. I truly expect that this will be his lifetime dream job. And if he moves on, all you could do would be to thank him for everything he accomplished and everything he taught us. But I really believe that this is the perfect fit for him.
And I think so too. I say that just because they're going to come knocking, right? And sometimes money can be a motivator. I don't get money as a motivator for him. He has consistently said, and I think it was on Pardon My Take, where he just said, the guys asked him, "We can see this being the place that you retire from someday," and he agreed. He's like, "What's not to like about here? I've got everything, not only just the location, but the support from the community buy-in and from the administration." And so, I think that, I think it would take something exceptional. And, listening to his story, at least he's moved his kids around a lot. It seems like the kids are planting here. And so I think it would take something absolutely you just can't say no to. I don't know what that would be for him. Maybe nothing.
I hope we never have to find out. You could live awfully well in Eugene for $12 million.
You could, and that's not counting the money he's getting from Nike, right? Like that untold amount we don't know about. So, I'm sure the man is doing quite well.
And he deserves to, because he's the best young coach in college football. Already his career winning percentage of 48-8 ranks him right between Frank Leahy and Urban Meyer on the all-time list. And that's pretty good company. And he's just getting started. I feel like this will be his best year ever. And with the facilities he has and the program he's built and the values he's instilled and the way he recruits, the sky is the limit for Dan Lanning and the Ducks.
I agree. I agree that I'm you're never gonna, I say all the time, in Lanning I trust. Um and I think that he has the right uh attitude and the right commitment to take Oregon all the way. So I'm on
I,
the ride, but Dale, I am a longtime fan. My uncle played for the Ducks in the early
wow.
70s. Um,
Wow.
I was born made to wear green and yellow. I remember being a small child when the toilet bowl game happened. I suffered through years of humiliating losses with only the smidgen of hope in 1989 at the end of Independence Bowl. Um, I I remember the bad years, right? That I remember the mid 90s really thinking, oh my gosh, wow, this is what it's like, to go to bowls games and to actually be good, and the Harrington years, and good Lord, right? But I also know about the desert and Dennis Dixon, right? About Dyer being down about 2012 and Stanford. I know about Joey Bosa injuring Mariota with Ohio State.
With a late hit.
With a late hit, which is why I hate that guy to this day. Even when he was playing for my Chargers, I just hated him, right? Um, we've lived through all of that. So, I think I said to you, I'm at this cusp of, do I hope Can my heart handle my hope? Because what I found last year was I didn't going into last year, I said the team's going to be good, but I don't think they're going to make a run all the way to the end. I think there's some seasoning that needs to be done. I wasn't sure about Dante Moore. And I wasn't sure about, whether or not we would be able to sustain everything throughout the year. And so towards the end of the year, when we're rolling, that hope was like, yeah, we can actually do this, right? And then we went to Miami, demolished, um,
Demolished, destroyed, stifled.
embarrassed
Yes.
Texas Tech. But I walked away from that game worried because we absolutely had no running backs, and our offense needs that balance, right? And the injuries had decimated everybody. I don't know what I don't know that the injuries would have, if those injuries hadn't happened, that the result wouldn't have been the same. I think Moore was dealing with a lot of, uh, um, I don't know, not maturity, because he strikes me as a very mature young man, but I think he's been outspoken about getting in his own head, right? And I think that I don't think he was ready. Um, and so I let myself get on the hope train only to get smacked down again, right? So this year, I want to believe, Lord have mercy, so many things can happen during a 16 game season, right?
And we have experienced heartbreak in so many different ways. You alluded to several of them. And I agree with you. Last year's team, everybody says they choked. That team overachieved. They weren't expected to go that far. They reached the semifinals of the college football playoff, won 2 playoff game, beat a pretty good Texas Tech team, in convincing fashion. A team that was scoring 42 points a game, and they shut them out. Mateo made an incredible play in the fourth quarter, got to the quarterback, stripped him, picked up the ball, and ran toward the end zone like a fullback. That was an
The end zone
amazing
Big
play.
Dave was in. Big Dave was in that end zone.
Really?
Yep.
So that play was right in front of you.
Yep.
Oh, man. I mean, that was a great, iconic type of play. When he is drafted in the first round of the NFL draft, that's the clip they'll play when his name is announced. That was that good. And Brandon Finney, played the game of his life in that game. 2
Lights
interceptions.
out. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So that team overachieved. They did not choke. Indiana had a great team. They were ready. They had a good game plan. Uh, Things went poorly for the Ducks early in the game. The Hoosiers had 4 possessions that started inside the 25. It was just one of those games. Hats off to Indiana. Tremendous accomplishment, but no way that Duck team exceeded expectations. But this year, the expectations are in a different place.
They are very much, because they're seasoned, right? We have a defensive line that's said to be the best in college football right now. I know there's some people doubting our own O-line a little bit, but I'll tell you what, I don't doubt our O-line coach. I am in a unique position in my season tickets where I'm in row 10, right behind the bench where they sit. I see him up close during games and personal, coaching these guys, game time, making those adjustments. I have no doubt that Coach Terry has these guys prepped, right? What Lanning said about 6 to 8 people who could be cycling in, I'm not worried about that. We need to have rotations. They need to stay fresh. Season 16 games long, we're going to have injuries. We always do. And we want people to have the snaps, right? So I think there'll be a core group by USC, and they'll have established what that core primary group is, but I think we're going to have others rotating in frequently, just like we've seen on the other side of the ball. And that only makes us better in the end run. So this team, I think what last year I observe is sometimes teams have that extra something we can't account for that I just call it magical. Indiana had a magical season. Michigan, when they won recently, had a magical season. Um, there have been other teams over the course of college football playoffs. One of the Georgia teams, I can't remember what year, magical season. There was nothing that was going to stop them because everything went right for them.
The year Ohio State won, same kind of dynamic.
Yeah, it just Lady Luck is rolling, right? I think with the talent that Oregon has, what I'm waiting for is that little pixie dust magic in there too. The just kind of feeling of there's nothing that's going to stop them this year.
I think you're on to something. I think it's some really good analysis. I would say, along with magic, is a sense of mission. This team right now, this team is really feeling we don't want to feel that way again. Jamari Johnson said that the other day. They took the lessons from the Indiana loss, and that's it. They're moving on. And I like that. If they can maintain that sense of mission, this could be a tremendous team.
I absolutely agree that I think part of it's going to be Lanning keeping them a little grounded, right? Keeping the noise out of the locker room.
Definitely.
But I think the extra just kind of Lady Luck smiling is going to be the added. And I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited to see what some of the position groups do. I'm a big defensive back fan. Going back years, I think it's one of the most exciting positions played in football. There's nothing better and nothing momentum changing than, some cornerback or safety intercepting the ball and running, right? It will change a game. We know that from history at Oregon, the pick, right? Kenny Wheaton single-handedly changed the trajectory, right? I love those position groups, and we have some ball hawks. And I am so excited to see what these young men, outside of Finney is phenomenal. I expect him to have an amazing year this year. But, some of the other young guys, it's their time. It's their time to step up. We've got, we're missing Thieneman, he's gone. We're missing some others, and I think that I think some of these young guys that have been waiting in the wings are hungry and they're ready, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do.
Very much so. You look at guys like Trey McNutt,
Yep.
Jet Washington, Ife Obadegwu, Naeem Offord. These guys have talent. I mean, they were top 100 players. They're twitchy and fast and long, and they've got great skills and technique. And Chris Hampton, who's now the defensive coordinator, is also their position coach. Like Ali Terry, he's a great teacher who's always teaching. So yes, this could be a fantastic secondary, particularly because they've got a defensive line that creates pressure and havoc up front, creating opportunities for them.
Absolutely. When Tosh left, I was a little sad. But when Hampton was named, I knew that our guys were in good hands, right? So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I'm excited to really see what this young core group of guys can do. And then on the offensive end, my favorite position is wide receiver. The dudes probably wouldn't like why I like wide receivers so much, but
okay, why is it? You got to tell us now.
They remind me of ballet dancers. So
That's, I can see
ballet
that.
dancers have absolute control of their bodies, right? They
Yeah.
have to. And
Yeah.
particularly the men that lift the women, they have to have absolute core strength. And then they have elegant lines when they dance. And wide receivers, I think of oh, why can't I think of his name right now? McKellen, right? He had that toe touch,
Oh, yeah.
the control that it takes somebody to take a ball to the ground, right? While making sure their very tippy toe hits inside the line every single time. That is just like, yes, I get so that is as exciting to me as an interception. So, um, yeah. So I'm excited to see what that position group will do as well, with Stewart being back, Moore being healthy. It's super. We have an embarrassment of riches. I'll just put it
Oh,
that way.
absolutely. I mean, you talk about ballet dancers and body control. I think that's a brilliant analogy because Evan Stewart, Decorian Moore, Jeremiah McClellans are all masters of body control. They're all capable of making catches that just blow you away. I remember the ball that Evan Stewart caught against Michigan. Now, it was turned over by a really stupid penalty. It was sort of a phantom penalty, but he reached up with one hand in the back of the end zone, keeping his feet in bounds and bringing the ball down. And now he says that after his year of rehab from the torn patellar injury, that he's faster than he's ever been, that he has more acceleration. How exciting is that? Decorian Moore says he wants to be one of the best receivers in college football. He's got 10-4 speed in the 100 meters. He is a ballet dancer. McClellan, you already talked about his ability to control the ball. He's a magician, and his best trick is pulling a ball out of a defensive back's ribs. It's
I
just
have
incredible.
no idea how that kid has the hand-eye coordination that he does to, like, when you think, oh, that's going to come out, there's no way that he can hang on to that ball, and he pulls it in or pulls it to his head. I still say that one was a catch. I mean,
Yes, yes. Yeah, the concentration he displays, it's just phenomenal. He just never gives up on a ball. He's so tenacious. And the odd thing about it is when people start talking about the Oregon receivers, he's usually mentioned third.
yeah, no, and he does not crack under pressure at all. Noise doesn't seem to bother him. His absolute focus is phenomenal, and that's when I say it's an embarrassment of riches, right? I mean, Dante Moore has who's going to stop him with the targets that he has between the wide receivers that can be put on the field, the tight ends, the running backs, like who's actually going to stop him? And Stewart to me was interesting because I think about Michigan, but I also think, I think it was Ohio State. They had no answer for him. None.
He had a tremendous game, 6 catches for like 142 yards and a
Yeah.
touchdown. That's what he's capable of. The thing that we need to see from Evan, and I believe he's worked for this now for 14 months, is to play at that level all the time. Maybe not produce those numbers because those are, career game type of numbers, but to have that sort of focus and tenacity and route running and determination to produce that level of effort every week. He can be one of the best receivers in college football. And then you look on the bench and you've got Gatlin Bear, who's run a 10-1-2 100 meters. Jalen Lott is a 5-star wide receiver from Texas and a track and field champion, I believe, in the long jump, like Stewart was years back. Like you said, it's an embarrassment of riches. And then you have Jamari Johnson, a tight end who's tipping the ball to himself and making 30-yard catches down the seam.
With a big old body, nobody can stop because he can drag him, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. He's big, mobile, 6'5", 260. And then it's really exciting to think about a freshman, Kendra Harrison, who now he gets 5 years to play 5. They've changed the rule. They don't have to worry about a red shirt. This is a young man who was a 20 points a game, 20 rebound guy in basketball, a Division I basketball player, in addition to being one of the highest recruited tight ends in the country. And he's the number 2 tight end. And then you have Iverson Hooks, who caught 927 yards worth of passes at UAB last year. So Oregon is absolutely loaded with targets, and they have Dante Moore coming back to pilot all that. What do you expect from Dante this year?
You know, that's a good question. He's proven fairly consistent. What I hope to see from him is that um, he shakes the nerves a little bit. I think the nerves have absolutely destroyed him at times during pivotal games. At the first Indiana game is the one that I'm thinking about the most. Uh, I hope that I hope our O-line is able to protect him a little more. I hope that he's able to recover quickly if he does get sacked, because, an early sack in some of the games have definitely, you can see it, right? You can see that he's rattled, and it's sometimes hard for him to overcome that. So I hope that he has, I don't know how I want to, they're so young. It's hard to, I'm not an expert, I'm not a coach. But I hope that he has built the confidence to be able to get out of his own head, right? I think he's a highly intelligent young man, and I think, and he's an introvert like myself, and I think sometimes we are our own worst critics. And it's not necessarily that we messed up, it's that we're in our heads talking about how stupid we were by messing up that way.
We beat ourselves up. We
yes.
stay in the bad moment.
Yeah. And so what I hope is during game time, he can kind of wipe that off and start, as if it's the very first down of the game, right? And just be able to recover from that very, very quickly. Because I think there's a couple of games he was never able to do that. And so that's my hope for him, is the ability to recover quickly in game and reset the mindset. And we know, and he's been open, that he's been working with some sports psychologists. So hopefully he looks a lot looser. He looks like he's had fun on the off season. I hope he's more vocal. He seems to be a kind of quiet guy a lot of the time. And sometimes I wonder if he's too chill. Maybe finding that fire a little bit in times when it's needed. But I think that he has all the tools that are needed to get Oregon a ring. But I don't know. I mean, his passes are beautiful, right? So we'll see.
The arm talent and accuracy is phenomenal. But as you said, the mental game and the processing of the game are the areas where he has to grow the way, say, Bo Nix did from his first year to his second.
Yeah, I think that he will be better. I think a lot of the guys are talking a lot. I saw Davison talking about the difference in being able to read defenses quicker now than they were able to last year, right? And I think that that's something internally Oregon's probably working on, if they're all saying the same thing. So hopefully that processing speed of being able to see, because there were times in the game where it was clear to us watching, oh my God, he's going to get hit, and he's not seeing the guy coming, in around here, and he just gets nailed. So hopefully he's able to not fall for the little tricky traps that some of these teams sprung on him, and be able to read what's actually going on.
Defenses, especially the really good, well coached defenses, have gotten really good at disguise,
Mhm.
pressure and simulated pressure, coverages that show one look and change into something else. And there's a lot on a quarterback's plate in terms of sifting through all that and finding his best option in 2.5 seconds or less. And that's where Dante has to improve, definitely. And I think, as you said, that he's working all that. Well, Lisa, we have talked about several different aspects of the Oregon team this year, and I really appreciate you because you've had both the hardcore fan insights and the feminine insights, and it's been a really terrific conversation. I got one last question left for you. Given all that, given the strength of this team, the talent on this team, Dan Lanning said that last year we had talent. This year we have talent and experience. Are you all in? Are you going to make this national championship or bust year in your mind? Or are you going to hang back and be careful in your mind?
I don't believe in national championship or bust. I'll just put it that way. I
Mhm.
think that each year, as long as they are growing and getting better, that a year is not a bust. There are too many things that can happen during 16 games that are outside of the team's control and mission. We saw it last year with injuries, right? We saw it last year with the transfer portal depleting people right as we were going into the college football playoffs. There are things we're not going to be able to control. That said, so it's not a championship or bust for me. That said, I believe that Lanning can do this. I believe this team has absolutely everything that it needs to do this. And so my commitment is to have my ass in the seats and yell, uh, and believe that they actually have the tools to do it. Um, Now, does that mean I'm not going to guard my heart a little bit? I'm probably always going to guard my heart a little bit. It's been traumatized over my whole life, Dale, right? But I think these guys can do it. Absolutely. And I expect if there's just a little bit of magic, we're gonna watch an amazing season that we're gonna look back on and go, how the hell did that happen? Right? So I'm there for the ride, Dale. I say all the time, win, lose, or draw, I love my Ducks.
I think that's the best way to be. And I think that Oregon, one of the reasons I started this podcast was I think Oregon has an extraordinary fan community. The fans are passionate, they're informed, they're intelligent, they're polite. They support the team no matter what. They accept the facts that sometimes those bad breaks happen. And in spite of all the zero natties and all the times we've choked, we still believe in this group, their coach, their program, and we'll be here no matter what because championship's definitely the goal. But if you say national championship or bust, what comes after the bust? How do you manage or handle that, and what do you do with your life and your energy if you're going to predetermine your reaction?
And that's just it. I think the mindset of championship or bust is the wrong mindset to have. I think it's the exact opposite of growth mindset. Because you're accepting then that there is some kind of limit, right? Bust indicates there's a limit. So I don't subscribe to that. I think we're going to just have to hold on for the ride, and enjoy it while it lasts, right? However long that is this season.
Play hard, fan hard, be in the moment, and be the best version of yourself. That's all any of us can do.
Absolutely.
Lisa, I've so enjoyed this conversation. I hope that you come back 2 or 3 more times this year. We can talk about their progress and where they're going. You're welcome anytime. Folks, if you want to participate in the Fan-Sided Oregon Football Podcast, please reach out to me at duckstufshere@yahoo.com. That's my email, or at @OttsonZoo_bliss. We want to make this a platform for the fans because Oregon has the best college football fans in the country. And I thank Lisa, the Queen of Mischief makers, for gracing us. And I hope we see you again soon.
Anytime, Dale.
Awesome.